This is Dr. David Klein with Stages of Life Medical Institute. Thank you again for tuning in. I'd like to do a little ditty right now about lessons learned from spring break. Okay, we all remember college, having a great time, drinking beer, chasing people, having a blast. And when we had things like spring break and whatever break it happened to be, we thought that that was an entitlement program because we were good boys and girls during the year. And we might have passed or we might not have, but we're still entitled to spring break. Well, this year, it didn't work out quite as we had planned. Spring break was canceled. Why? For a national emergency. In fact, a worldwide emergency. But wouldn't you know it, there are a group of people, a rather large subset of the population, that we would conveniently or commonly call wise asses, who decided not to follow instructions. Wouldn't you know it, teenagers, young adults, early 20s and whatnot, who think that going around drinking too much, perhaps doing drugs and chasing members of your own sex or the opposite sex, and calling it fun and games was a good idea, in spite of the fact it was against public policy, temporarily, underscore, bold, italicized. And so now there are centers in this country. They call them hotspots, not because they're fun to go to, not because you want to go to them, but because they're centers of disease, pestilence, bad places to be. In fact, folks are running from these areas, trying to work their way away from the plague. How do you like that? So what were the lessons of the spring break? Well, the young kids, it's a disease of old people. People over 65. Well, that includes me. And I'm not really very happy about the fact that they thought, if they get sick and die, so what? That's a big problem, okay? A lot of wisdom goes with age, and a lot of stupidity goes with youth. So it was often said, it's a shame that youth is wasted on the young. And in this case, that's kind of what this is all about. But what other lessons were learned? There was a big lesson learned in New York. The president said, hey, we need to start slowing things down, put people in their house, no travel. And in New York, they decided that they would celebrate the opposite because it was politically expedient. Go out and party, have fun, go downtown. And they got sick. The same thing happened in New Orleans with Mardi Gras. And wouldn't you know it, there were people that left in the middle of this on cruise ships and they can't get back. This is really a darn shame. So they're sitting on plague ships right now, wondering why we're not more humane to allow them to come in and infect the rest of us. So this is a real problem. This is not an episode of Bones. This is not an episode of CSI. This is not a house, okay? We don't solve the problem in 1 hour. This is going to take time. Everything in life isn't as it is on television. Everything on life isn't as you might see it. And by the way, this is not an entitlement program. You get sick with this one, somebody is going to pay for it, whether it's in hospitalization, lost time at work, or lost lives. The last lesson, okay, was Cabo San Lucas, okay? So in the middle of all this, okay, you can't go here, you can't go there. So a bunch of kids from the University of Texas, well, what do? They go ahead and charter a jet, go down there, and now a bunch of them are sick, and they're having to care for them in Texas. So Austin is now a center, as it were, of disease because of these stupid kids. I hope that they throw them out of school, suspend them, whatever they have to do for a semester or two, give them something to think about as they make the rest of us ill. The last piece of this is Pandora's box. Now, those of you that actually went to school and studied, remember, okay, the mythology of Pandora's box. So the box is open and all this pestilence comes flying out, and they did their best to shut this box, leaving one thing left in there. And that one thing was opened up, and that was hope. All right? So don't kill hope. Whatever you do, remember that the slowest moth out of Pandora's box was hope. Thank you. This is Dr. David Klein, Stages of Life Medical Institute, Longwood, Florida.